To begin by actually introducing myself, I'm Sadaf Jaleel. I am the school doctor for ider International. As a school doctor in September 2012. Prior to that, I was with the Dubai Health Authority for about 16 years, working as a specialist pulmonologist. Don't start calculating my age, but roughly the reason why I did make the move from being a specialist and an intensivist into school health was because I had to focus on my children. My biggest job is that of a mom. Okay, I've kind of brought my ethics of being a mom and the ethics that I've learned at the DHA for years onto the table when I joined school health. It was a whole new field. The school was for the first time hiring a permanent doctor. So initially the impression I had was, okay, so I'm going to sign off on the statistics, I'm going to sign off on the vaccinations, I'm going to palpate some of the kids, and that's it, it's going to be a hunky-dory job. But that wasn't what I had signed up for. I really wanted to do much more, and I...
She's waiting for a signal.
Sorry. Okay. So I decided I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make a difference. And it was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but it's been an ongoing process. Okay. So in my opinion, every school has an effective healthcare program. Okay. The quality and the reach of these programs is your choice. How much you want to do, what do you want to do, how do you want to reach out to your community? Is your community willing to get involved? Okay. So at ider International, I found this on the school aim, and it said, the fostering a sense of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, promoting the importance of healthy lifestyles and informed decision-making. I think every school has something like this, in some with maybe different syntax, but they have it in their manual. From this, I decided to make my own mission because I was starting off something new. I wanted to do something different. So I said, okay, I want every child to be physically healthy. I want them to be socially well adjusted. What was very important for me was that the child could have an open dialogue with me. As a doctor, as an adult, I look like a figure of authority, and they don't necessarily, children won't come and open up to you. They may to their teachers, but not to me. I'm not in their lesson. I'm not exposed for 8 hours to them. But I really wanted to build this with them. I wanted to address the teachers' concerns about children. And of course, the well-being of the school staff was also very important. Okay, so I have a favorite saying, and this isn't my aunt who actually said this to me once, and she said, don't look for big things, just do small things with great love. She was a big follower of Mother Teresa. So this is my stakeholder involvement, and please, this is not a research slide, but this is my impression as a school doctor and my impression as a mother. I think parents take the chunk of care responsibility of their child every single day. The school takes a huge portion, and then the community as a whole, your neighbors, your friends, everybody else. But it is the parents' responsibility. However, this to me is the reality. Okay. With crazy working hours, lifestyle choices, and the best one is the easy accessibility to domestic help. Okay, parents are very happy to shirk off that responsibility. So my child is at school from 7:30 to 2:45. That's the major part of their waking hours. I don't have to do much. They're there, let them deal with everything, okay? I will come home at 5 o'clock, my kid should be in bed by 8, I've got 3 hours to tolerate them, and that's about it. That isn't what it should be. The parents should be more involved. But because we are being dumped with the largest part of the responsibility, and with now the DHA requiring us to have permanent school doctors, okay, it's become even more. So previously, where if a nurse called them and said, look, your child is sick and your child has fever, they would do something and try and get there and take their child home. Now the expectation and the response is, yeah, but you have a school doctor. Excuse me, I still have limited resources and your child is sick. This is not a care center. This is not a hospital. Okay. So I have elements that I think are very important in what I do. Well, obviously the Dubai Health Authority, my clinic, the safety in the school, the staff of the school, the curriculum, the parents, and the community as a whole. Okay. So Dubai Health Authority, worked with them for years, thought I knew the system inside out. I was a little bit wrong. they've laid out some guidelines. They've laid out rules that, okay, you have a student population of over 1,500, you have to have X many nurses, you have to have a doctor on site, okay. They haven't given us exact expectations. So you have to take those guidelines and those regulations and build your own expectations. You then have to address them with ethical concerns. Now, this is a little bit difficult with me because I have gone back to them several times and asked them, well, I have a problem. I have a parent that I think is not addressing their child correctly, a lot to do with the child protection, and the laws are still a little vague, and those are issues. However, they have started giving us feedback. Now, as of this September, they've started putting out awards, and they're acknowledging schools who are towing their line or trying to build up on their concepts. They want lots of statistics. I don't know how many of you are school doctors here, but they love statistics, okay? So they want you to examine every new child in the school. They need you to examine all the year 5 children, all the ones in year 9, all the children leaving the school. They need you to measure the BMI of every single child, okay? But are you just tabulating these statistics and delivering it to them? That's the easy way out. We decided that we would use this data and actually do something. So we have started a program where we're actually looking at a target group, and that was last year's year 5, this year's year 6, and we'll watch them again next year when they transition into high school. We're watching their BMI, their standardized scoring, their teacher assessments, their attitude to a healthy lifestyle, and their parents' attitude to a healthy lifestyle. Wasn't received very nicely when I had to send out questionnaires to the parents. I'm still waiting for some of them to come back from last year. But my objective is to see what the children perceive from their health education, what they take in from their teachers, and how successful are our programs. And we push so much about healthy lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. These kids can regurgitate it. They know the portions, they know carb counts, they know everything. But how much are they using? And truly, I think the problem is how much are the parents allowing them to use what they are gaining from school. Vaccinations. We have to do vaccination schemes. We haven't been able to because they've had a shortage of vaccinations. But this too is an opportunity to get to know the parents and their interest and focus with the children. Okay, my school administration, when it comes to my clinic, when I joined the school, I think they weren't expecting that I would get up, put on some running shoes and really want to get involved with the community of the school. But I did, and I had to fight them at times tooth and nail to do this and say, no, I do want to carry out this project. I do want to meet the parents. I will call up the parents on my own. I want to address an issue. And it's taken them time, but they've understood what I want, and they know that it is for the better now, so they've started coming on board. Location of your clinic is also really important. It has to be very accessible to the children. Now, we have 2 separate buildings. We have a primary building, we have a secondary building. We actually have 2 separate clinics, okay? I'm the one doctor, so I'm usually running back and forth and often carry things across from one side to the other. But we also have a huge outfield. We have a multi-purpose hall. All of these have to be equipped. But the most important is that within the building, the clinic should have an open access to the children. They shouldn't have to worry about where they're coming in from, who'll catch them coming in, because they do need that comfort. Staff training, our nurses are all trained, and I encourage them to do CMEs, very, very focused towards pediatrics, towards child psychology. They do the others, the rest of the triage and the BLS and the ACLS, all of the other requirements. But I think there's a huge niche that is not filled, which is training for school doctors, school nurses, okay? Record keeping and auditing. Huge amount. We have only 1,500 children. I know that there are schools here that have over 5,000 children. So the amount of records that have to be maintained by the Dubai Health Authority, and with the fact that every student has to have an individual file, this file moves across schools, okay? It's very tedious. I think one of the first things I did was I took away the nurses sitting there and plotting and writing in every single file, got a triplicate book, and it's printed with I didn't have a picture of it, but it just says school clinic visit, has different options of their complaints, the treatment given, and different options, as in parent was notified, what time did the child return to class. So it's all documented. Top sheet, parent, middle sheet, teacher, bottom sheet to the file. We don't have to open the file to write every single time. But what we did do was we created an online system. We integrated it into our school management system. Now, what this allows me to do, it's called the PASS system, and what this allows me to do is when a child enters the school and their records have arrived, I document everything. So we have children who've had kidney transplants, we have immune suppressed children, we have children who've had leukemia, autism, we have children with cerebral palsy, hearing impairment, visually impaired. Everything that the parent needs to tell us about the child is put online and is immediately accessible by the teacher. However, when they come to the clinic, every visit is also documented online. Okay. Yes, I did take permission for this from this child's parents. My husband said yes, so I'm using my own child records. Okay. So this is how we record a child's clinic visit to us. This is something that my son went to the clinic on the 12th of September. He had ice applied, he had a wound dressing done, he had a small little abrasion he made a big fuss about. Okay. But how do we add on? Now, this is screenshots I took yesterday when I opened the system. So as you can see, when we do a category call, okay, we have a drop screen like this. If, for those of you who are familiar, the DHA also requires us to give them ICD coded statistics, and those are codes 787.3, 910463. With this, I can pull up those statistics with a click at the end of the month, and I can just tabulate it easily. So I just have to scroll down, choose what I want. I can put his temperature in there. I can, whatever his complaints are, I can just go back here. What time he arrived, what time he left, okay, who saw him, if he was referred to a hospital, what action was taken, which is usually parent notified, dressing done, or treated and returned back to class, treated and sent home, whether quarantine was required. This is like for conjunctivitis, chickenpox, any of these, and of course whether the parents were notified. Okay, now this is, oh, I'm so sorry. As you can see up right on the top under first previous update is visit details, medication, tests, vaccinations, accidents, and notes. Okay, everything can be recorded. Every time we medicate a child, we click on that and we put in what we have done, given, including the dose. Okay, it also, on the next screen, you can see here, this is the medical records of a child who has nephrotic syndrome, is immune suppressed and in school. He's on mycophenolate, he was due for a kidney biopsy. The mother has withdrawn the action plan that we had put in place for the child. So everything is there and the parents can inform us, we modify it. This links up to the teacher, to the pastoral care, to the administration. It's all there under one click. This is the multiple visits of a child, not mine. This is a boy who actually loves coming to the clinic. I love him to bits, but he's always bumping and falling, and it's always rather dramatic. But I showed him that I was going to use this slide, and he was very thrilled with it. But what we can do with this, and where it comes really in handy, is if I have a child who's repetitively complaining of a headache. Now, one day I may have seen him, one day my nurse Reshma may have seen him, the next day another nurse may have seen him. But the point is, by looking at this summary, we know what the child is complaining about. Okay? They're coming with repetitive bruises, or they've come with various different vague complaints, the tummy ache complaint, which is the biggest and most favorite. But the interesting thing is that with the timing of their visit, we actually coordinate it to their timetable. And we are able to pick up if the children are bunking maths, literacy, Arabic, Islamic, PE, for any reason. And that information I carry over to pastoral care. I also discuss it with their teachers, and then everyone works in tandem. The parents are informed that, look, we've noticed your child is doing this. Easiest way out of a class is, Miss, I'm not feeling well. So we are able to pick that up quite frequently. Okay, for safety, the children's safety, observation for me was really important. When I joined the school, I did tons of walkabout. They probably thought I was unemployed in there and just had nothing to do. But I watched the children. I watched what they do, how they handled themselves, the stairs, everything had to go in. We also have children who are wheelchair bound, so their safety and clearance was very, very important. During the fire drills was very important. We did make several modifications. This was mostly based around children on wheelchairs. We now have a wheelchair area where if there's a fire drill, the child is moved rapidly to that area, an adult is waiting to clear them from there without their actual wheelchair. A second wheelchair is waiting for those children downstairs in the open area. Okay, so what we also did was then we increased our provision for first aid at strategic locations. So besides having the required AED devices in the main buildings, we've actually put AED devices in other buildings as well, and in areas, and the security is trained on how to carry them if I send out an alert. I carry a walkie-talkie that links me to the security, to the school nurses, and I'm able to inform them when I need and what I need. We have ready first aid kits at various places, and people are allowed to open them and bring them to me if I need it. Okay, the curriculum, how we all have this list of, I think it's 12 required health education sessions, which of course involve healthy eating, safety, hygiene, but I decided those were really done. Every year the children were hearing the same things. They're tired of me singing tops and bottoms to wash their hands and things like that. So we made several modifications. Now the children get to come into the clinic, do a whole hand washing exercise, get to put tons of hand sanitizer on their hands. They love it. They love having to come over and do this. But we sort of integrated things into our curriculum. So an example of that is with the 6 to 7 year olds, we're actually teaching them about safety around medication. And we have a whole program called Mr. Medic, and we try and teach the children that, is this medication good for you? What's the difference between gummy bears and Mr. Gummy, the vitamins? And it was really amazing because I put up a slide which had Augmentin, Zithromax, lots of antibiotics, and these 6-year-olds knew exactly what every medicine was for. Of course, they thought every antibiotic was for a cold, but you have to teach them that. But besides that, with the curriculum, I also do things with, it's called Skills for Life, which is a program in our secondary school. So I will go in, we'll have the puberty talk, we'll have the personal hygiene. We're now doing a lot of talking about eating disorders, body image, self-harm, the internet use. Then we have a campaign where they were studying equality amongst people. So I went in and taught them about diarrhea, because that was, they had to understand why clean water was a necessity in the world. They did not understand why that was considered a right to everybody, and they were really fascinated, and we did a whole exercise of making ORS, and they tasted it. They didn't like it, they did taste it. I also work with the IB students. Our school has a GCSE program and then moves on to the International Baccalaureate, and this year they've introduced physical education as one of the sub-degrees, and I've worked with them on teaching them the medical aspects of it. So we've done BP monitoring, we've done heart exercises, and it's been really revealing because I discovered I'm not a teacher. Okay. After school activities, this has been an amazing fun activity for me. We introduced a first aider program, and this wasn't for our high school students who have to complete it before they finish IB, but this was for our 10-year-olds. Okay. They were plundering into the clinic all the time. Miss, can I help you? Miss, can I open this Band-Aid? Miss, what is this for? So I said, you know what? They're so fascinated. Let me introduce the program. I have a really good friend who's an AHA instructor called Chris. He works for IBC. He joined in as a volunteer, and we've run this for 1 term. This is now the 2nd term. We're training 10-year-olds to be first aiders. And I got feedback from the teachers because they had gone for a camp in Hatta, and they said that they actually were proactive. They had their own little pouches of first aid, and they did know what they were doing. They cannot deliver CPR. They're too tiny, but they can tell you as an adult what to do. They've been trained that far. Okay. Okay, this is me doing a Mr. Medic session with the year 2s. They're very tiny. I'm often worried I'll trip over them, but it's fun to work with them. I don't know how many school doctors get to take part in the curriculum, but it is very interesting, and it's very different from just coming in and doing a presentation that you've been using for years on health education and the same subject that the child gets exposed to all year round. All right, this is part of our healthy eating campaign. This was for Halloween. Mommy took healthy eating a whole different level. She's got salmon, smoked salmon in there. This is sushi rice, and then she's done this with seaweed. And the kids enjoy this, and there are parents who are enthusiastic enough to participate, but you have to encourage them. Okay, I think this must be everybody's nightmare. This picture was taken yesterday. I apologize for the blurring of the picture because I was laughing so hard at what she was saying to me. But that's one mother packing grapes, cucumber, tons of little mandarins. That was a brown khubuz sandwich with cheese in it. And this is another mom. Same class, same target, but this is the effect that we have. Sorry, I'm losing this. So I realized that I have called up this mother several times already. Sorry.
Session is very good.
Yeah.
My question is about the obese students having more weight. So how you tackle that problem in the students of different ages?
Okay. Well, we run a campaign. Okay, we have a whole week that is devoted. Should I just hold it? Okay. That is devoted to a healthy lifestyle, okay, and we actually inculcate activities. We have yoga, we have skipping, we have jogging, we have actually have a walkathon at the end of it, which is a whole school involvement that we do. But I think the biggest thing I have discovered is that no matter how many campaigns I launch, okay, it is in the end a one-to-one thing. It is all about the personal contact, and I have worked very hard to build that kind of contact with the parents, and now have boiled down to not even emailing, not even putting a note, but I actually wait in the foyer for this mother to come. And then I showed her this picture, and I showed her the other one, and I said, look, how difficult is it to pack that, and in comparison to packing this? And she was a little sheepish at the end of it, but the only way to target this is actually to work with the parents and constantly tell them. The children are actually embarrassed. When I walked up, this child covered his lunchbox, okay? They were genuinely embarrassed. And one of the ways of targeting this is that during every snack and lunchtime, I walk through the cafeteria. I actually, yes?
What about their activities in the playground? Rather, these are differentiated or something like physical instruction, they are paying some additional attention to those with coordination?
Well, it's slipped, so I can't do anything about it. Sorry, I'm having a dress attire issue. What we have done is we've put out additional equipment. So this year they've added scooters and other equipment. There's much more. The field has been opened up, so they're playing football. There's an area for them to play cricket. There's also tons of skipping ropes, and there are teachers and supervisors all the time standing and being participant to the children's activities. But this is their free time. This is their creative time. So we don't really want to also regimentalize that period of their time. That should be when they come out of the class and they do things. They are required to do 2 hours of PE. Most of our extracurricular after-school activities are physically based. So we offer capoeira, karate, gymnastics, football, rugby, tennis. And the children are encouraged to choose at least one extra physical activity a week, which is an extracurricular activity. So the thing is that for me right now, it is that I want to educate the parents. I want them to believe that they want to make a change. The children know it. The children have been taught to the hilt. It's like knowing their numbers. They can count from 1 to 10 and they can state to you the healthy lifestyle that they should be leading. And I'll show you a couple of slides of the children's impression of a healthy lifestyle. But like you, I am open to suggestions on what we can do, because it is a much, much bigger problem than we ever perceived. I know that in our school we have 36% obesity amongst the children. I've sent these statistics. I broke it down into looking at whether an academically high achiever had a lower BMI than an academically average achiever. No. We have children who are obese who are high achievers. We have children who are underweight and have high achievers. We're now looking at it down to ethnicity. So, and the reason I had to break it down to ethnicity and not nationality was because there are children who are of Asian origin but holding Western citizenship, and so in many other formats. So what we're doing now is looking at, broken it down into subcontinentals, Far Easterns, okay, Western. Now I have children who are from South Africa, and you know, I have to put some of their ethnicity up to Western or Caucasians, and the others into African Asians. So it's a very big process, but we're ongoing, and we're looking at their scores over 3 years to see how it works. There are children who are definite success stories where you do talk to the parent and they make a difference. But then there are these parents who are completely resistant, like the Barney bear. And if I talk to the mother, he's 6 years old. He does not need 2 juice boxes. He does not need 8 chocolate chip cookies and a Barney bear. There was nothing else. When I asked him what was in the foil, he said there was half an apple. I said, and where's the apple going? He says, Miss, I ate it. I said, and why aren't you eating this? No, Miss, it's not healthy. The child knows, but who's doing the packing? It's either the maid or the mummy. Okay, we also launch several awareness campaigns. I believe every school does, but we have a lot of fun with this. The doctors actually don't use the clinic. They walk into the classrooms and they become part of the day with the children, and they do several activities. This is Liberty Dental, who visited us for 2 years consecutively doing a dental checkup, and that's their famous dinosaur. The kids love this dinosaur. And that's little Jocelyn. She was showing me how she could actually brush the dinosaur's teeth. When I asked her if she knew how to brush her teeth, she said, no, Mummy has to do that. Okay. This was a campaign we launched this year, which was that for a week the children were exposed to a healthy lifestyle. And as part of the competition, this was opened up from year 1 up to year 6. They could use any form of presentation that they wanted. Year 5 and 6 were encouraged to use PowerPoints. They had to show me how they could design a healthy day, a day in the life of the child. Okay, so this is one of the, this is from a little boy called Jamal in year 1, I think. And what I love about it is that he associated the whole thing to me, and he wrote there, I love you, Dr. Sadaf. And it's gone up on my wall of love, which I have in my clinic, where I put up all this artwork for the children. But you can see that they do know sleep, vegetables, exercise. I love the emergent writing, but this was one of them. Okay, this is also a year 2 child, and see his understanding. They do have complete understanding. A recipe for a healthy day: 10 hours of sleep at night, a little bit of TV or computer, drink lots of water, eat lots of veggies and fruit, do some sports, wash your hands, take a shower or a bath, wash your face, brush your teeth, mix them all together and have a healthy day. So it's not how much we're teaching the children. The problem is somewhere else. Okay. What I loved about this one was this child had done little squares and had done morning, breakfast, evening, snack time, had everything down. But there was something which struck me when this child wrote, and a lot of the children had missed out, and that was that he mentioned his family. He mentioned that dinner had to be with his family. He did not mention it at any other time, but that obviously was an integral time, and family bonds are so important to the well-being of a child. The other thing about him that really touched me was first he said, first my mom reads me a story, then we cuddle. Okay. That emotional connection, how many children are missing out? If you sit in a clinic all day and you walk in and you see, and you're ready to give a hug to a child, they are very happy to take it. A child who's comfortable in his existence, who's getting a lot of physical love at home and a lot of attention, they won't be that needy. There are some very, very needy children that way. Okay, the end of the campaign, we decided to introduce a new sport. So the winners of the poster competition actually got to fly with our principal, the primary school principal, and the 2 deputy principals of the primary school. One of the children in these pictures, I'm not allowed to point out, is a child who's had a renal transplant and is immune suppressed. For him, this was the thrill. He's not allowed to do football, he's not allowed to do any of the very physical and strenuous exercises. This was the first time he was getting to learn a new sport. He actually goes and flies every week now and is taking lessons. Okay, that to me is a victory. Okay, so the kids had a blast. That's our deputy principal flying. The kids loved watching him. They loved this picture as well. And we're very grateful because iFly Dubai gave us all the vouchers, and they actually gave us some 56 vouchers for the children so that they could come and fly in. Okay, this is my first aider club. This is a year 5 student who is, I had a child from year 9 who was injured, and this is her applying the triangular bandage. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to put a triangular bandage on, but getting it right is a little bit difficult. And she did. She was thrilled with herself, and so was the year 9 student for getting all this attention. Okay. This is another one of my children from the year 5. This is her after she made up her own first aid box. She actually calculated and wrote down. They have to justify. We give them a lot of open learning. So she decided that these were the things and what she needed to put in. Okay, this is a poster that they made for my clinic door. It says, keep calm and be a first aider, look, listen, freeze, and the we love you. I love those ones. Okay. The staff in our school have been first aid and heart saver, have to go through the program. We're doing it in small portions. Okay, I am a first aid provider. I can teach first aid, and I do it under the auspices of the AHA. And I've started doing it in portions with the staff as well, because irrespective of the fact that you have a clinic in the school, a doctor in the school, you do need everybody. They go on school trips, they should be trained. Okay. I also encourage and I also step in a lot and go and meet the teachers if I think that there is a problem with a child's health. We had a child who was so malnourished that he was actually turning blue every time he ran. So these are issues that have to be addressed, and you know, the parents were not aware that the child was suffering because they were working. They didn't see the child running around that much. Child protection, and then sometimes I also get involved if there is a problem with learning. There are children that they don't always relate, and the teachers would like me to come in and do an observation, see if I think he's autistic or it's just a learning difficulty. I also do a lot of staff consultation. They can come in. I do write prescriptions. I do write investigations for them and follow up with them as well. All right, the parents, my greatest challenge. So the previous presenter also mentioned that they don't read the newsletters. You know, every 3 weeks I write this whole newsletter about what is pertinent. So if we had an epidemic of conjunctivitis, I'll put it down. If we had hand, foot and mouth disease, I'll put it down. But they rarely read it. You send them an email, they also tell you, oh, I forgot to open my email. So the only way to really get in touch with them is pick up the phone, call them, and the minute they see the school number, they panic. So you have to actually tell them, oh, I'm sorry, don't panic, Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. I just need to discuss your child's weight issues with you, or your child's recent weight loss with you, or I have these issues and I need to address them. It is the only way to communicate with them. So what I do now is in the morning, I stand in the foyer and I meet the mothers and I become friends with them. And I invite them in, and we sit down and we chat. We actually have coffee. Food is a great attraction. Okay, we may have coffee, and I try to get them to come in, help me with other projects. Okay, so like right now today we are having sports day. So all the mums are on the field, okay, handing out fruit snacks that they have cut. The school provides everything, they prepare everything. Okay. And it's a great way for them to get to know each other, and it's a great way for me to talk to them. I also attend the parent rep meetings and I address issues that I have over there, hoping that by word of mouth, my issues are spread outwards. Okay. First aid, we've been training parents to do first aid as well. They come in on Saturdays, they do 9-hour workshops with us to get AHA certified. Okay. And what we've recently introduced is parenting workshops. Starting the end of March, they'll be doing a creative parenting workshop. We have a speaker coming from the US who will be doing creative education for the teachers and then doing a session with the parents on creative parenting. The community, so stepping out. I like to get out, meet everybody. I I think rudely put, I would be like the social butterfly, but I love it. I do follow up with the parents. If I've had to refer a child, I don't put them into an ambulance and send them off with my nurse. I go with the child, okay? It offers so much more comfort to the parents if the school doctor went with the child to the hospital. I follow up, I call up the referred doctor, I speak to the parents on a regular basis till the child is healthy and back at school, okay? I get involved in the projects in school. If they're having a school play, I will get there with the mothers and take part in things. I will make sure that they know that I'm providing the first aid and the children are looked after, okay? The referrals is very important. A lot of parents will come and walk into the clinic now and say, well, you know, I have this issue. It may be about themselves, it may be about their husband, it may be about their child, but I willingly will make the referral. I will pick up the phone, I will call. You have to go that extra mile for them. And it offers them so much more comfort knowing, and you build a level of trust and a repartee with them that you can then work with after that. These are my moms who are actually today doing this again, and they will do it tomorrow and they'll do it day after because our sports day is divided into year groups. Okay. There are 5 nationalities over here and they're all amazing friends. They also help out a lot with all others, volunteer work in the library and so forth. Okay, my challenges, authority. My time? Sorry. Okay, authority is one of my biggest challenges. Parents don't accept my authority at all. Most of the time. You tell them, I need you to take your child home, he has conjunctivitis. Oh, no problem, I'll pick him up at 2:30. Ma'am, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I can't allow your child to be in a classroom full of 24 children, okay? No, 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 you cannot tell me. So who's backing us up on this authority? This is something, they've asked us recently to put up the patient bill of rights and responsibilities. They need to make a doctor's bill of rights and responsibilities for the school doctors, because this is becoming really essential. I had a parent who refused to pick up a child who had a 40+ temperature. The child was on the verge of convulsing. I was bathing the child when the mother came. She refused me, did not allow me to take the child by ambulance to the hospital. I do not have the resources to handle such an emergency. No matter how well equipped we are, we do not necessarily have the resources. But having a school doctor, the parents' expectations have gone up. We get children who have contused and fractured fingers from the day before coming into school saying, Miss, my mom wanted you to see this. And these are blue sausage-sized fingers. But we can't increase the resources because then we might as well open a complete full-fledged primary healthcare clinic. So where does it stop? What are the boundaries to this? Dependency. A lot of children depend on us. They start coming in every morning. They just want the hug and kiss and cuddle. And if they're not allowed to do that, then they will come in just on the pretext, oh, I have a tummy ache. And they need that, and we're trying to wean them off because you're not always there. Medico-legal, my challenge is sometimes there are issues where I think a child is being neglected. How far can I go? Who am I to address for this? Okay, I have a child with an eating disorder. How far can I push this child? Will the school suspend her till she gets her act together? Okay. Will the parents accept it? What are my rights and how much can I say to them about it? This is a parent who sent a letter yesterday. This is for a child in year 10. He's probably 15 years old. He has problems with his throat up to now. Can you please make sure the nurse sees him at school, and he gets worse, give him leave of absence to see the doctor. He also cannot speak as it hurts his throat. He's 15 years old. He can come to the school clinic if he needs. You don't need a letter like this. And this is because this child is a perpetual malingerer. He spends at least 2 days of the week and at least one lesson of that day hanging out in the clinic, and we've stopped this, but then we get these kind of letters from the parents. Okay, this is my wall of love. Every one of these pictures is done by a child on their own for me, and they love coming in. It makes it much more casual, much more comfortable. I do call my clinic, it's a little glorified because I have bathroom tiles on it, but the pictures make it beautiful to be there. That's the primary nurse, and you can see the children just adore her. They love it. They come in all the time to say hello to her. The children were flaunting wacky glasses, and they made her wear it and pose for them, and which she did quite willingly. Okay, so coming back to this, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. It's my children's favorite, Dr. Sears. And once again, it boils down to every school has an effective healthcare program. The quality and reach of these programs and how you do it is your choice. Okay. Thank you.